remember I was ordering some stuffed mushrooms at a seafood restaurant. And I really like these stuffed mushrooms. I really enjoy them. And I remember telling my mother that I had stuffed mushrooms. And she said, "Where did you get that from? We never ate stuffed mushrooms. You definitely didn't get it from me." And I pondered what she said, and I thought to myself, well, why do I have to get it from you or anyone else? I like what I like, and I enjoy stuffed mushrooms. And it kind of carries over into the experience of me being a lesbian and people looking at me and saying, "Where did you get that from? You definitely didn't get it from me. I'm not a lesbian." And I grew up with family members thinking that way about me. And what I learned is that people like you to actually abide by a pattern. They want you to stay in line. They want you to be duplicates of your family or whatever social group that you're in. No one can be different. No one can have their own taste, their own style, likes or dislikes, if it actually is not in agreement with your social circle. Everybody wants to fit in and be the same. And just like I love stuffed mushrooms, I also love being a lesbian. And I realized that my mom doesn't like stuffed mushrooms. But the interesting thing is, just because she doesn't like stuffed mushrooms doesn't mean that they're not good to eat or that they're not good for you or they're not enjoyable, because I enjoy them. And likewise, my sexual orientation is for me. I'm supposed to enjoy myself as being a lesbian identified woman. I don't need someone else to approve, accept, or even like that I'm a sexual identified woman as a lesbian. But people find it hard to comprehend why other people are so different from them. They're not able to process that you can have interests and attractions and desires that do not match theirs. And they'll keep you in a box. They'll try to change your mind about the way you think of yourself. And the reason why they do this is because they're projecting who they want to be on you. Many times people will desire to create themselves by controlling another person, especially when these people are very close to you, either through your bloodline or some type of friendship. It's usually a deep association with another person. And they want to see themselves in you. But why do they do this? Well, maybe it's your mother. You come from your mother. And she may think, oh, I have a daughter and she's going to grow up like her mother. Or she may think, oh, I have a daughter. Well, I'm going to make sure that my daughter is everything that I want it to be. Yes, parents think this way. If you ever heard of, just listen to adults who reminisce about their parents and how they grew up, at some point they learned that their father always wanted to maybe play baseball. So the father will instill in his daughter to play softball. But if he has a son, he'll encourage his son to play baseball. And they don't think about the child and what the child desires and wants, because the parent is living through their child vicariously, living out their own fantasies and desires that they were not able to fulfill. That's one way to consider it. Another way to think of it is, if you come from a dysfunctional family, because you come from that bloodline, they know you firsthand. They watch you, they know your mannerisms, they know your behaviors, they know how to push your buttons. And when you are your own unique person and you stand out from young, they notice that about you. And if they have their own insecurities about themselves, whoever it is in your family, it could be your mom, your dad, it could be your siblings, anyone. If they see that you are a very positive, uplifting, kind person, because they don't have that type of heart, they will despise the beauty in you. And they'll compete with you. They'll be jealous of you. But they won't necessarily make it too obvious, because they know there's other people in the family that's looking and watching them. So they'll do sneaky little things to give you an idea that they're not too fond of you. And when they recognize that you're different, not just because you have a wonderful spirit and personality, or that you are maybe even physically attractive, they see and they recognize that about you. But there's sometimes something else that's different about you. And when they find out that you are a lesbian, now they have something to use against you. Some people will use as a weapon a quality about you that they intend to use to destroy you. You have to be mindful and careful of people, especially those who are closest to you, because sometimes those are the ones who will do the most damage. But because you are a light worker, you do good in the world and you treat people very good. You do not take on the negative energy that has been projected against you. And you understand that you are different, but you do not let your difference hinder you. Instead, you already appreciate that you're different, but you've just got to manage how other people on the outside treat you because you're different. And that's why lesbians defy societal norms. My name is Giselle Wallace, lesbian life coach and author. I do provide a lesbian perspective and I provide content for gay, lesbian, bisexual, and LGBTQ people to give us insight and encouragement on how to live an authentic life. If that interests you, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Lesbians defy societal norms. Here's why. Because you stand out from everyone else. And they know you do. And you probably have heard you're different. But they don't tell you that you're different to compliment you. They tell you that you're different to outcast you. You may have even heard, who do you think you are? You're not anyone special. You're like everyone else. Well, if you hear someone say those statements to you, the truth is they know that you are an amazing person, but they don't want you to know that. So they're hoping that they can make you feel like you're just like everybody else. You won't go far in life. You're just like your mom. You're just like your cousin. You're just like your sister. They'll say very harsh, negative things to you because they want to see you not develop into the woman that you should develop into. And so what do with all of this? You use it to your advantage and you defy societal norms. You know how the women in your family, if you come from a family that is very male centered, they usually like to put men first in the family. Women are very catty, they don't get along and they argue and they bicker and they fight. And they usually say statements like, oh, I don't have female friends. I do not get along with women. When they say things like that, men, their ears pucker up. And the reason why their ears pucker up is because you become an easy target. They now realize and recognize that you do not like women, which means subconsciously you don't even like yourself as a woman. So men will take advantage of that because they can actually keep women fighting amongst each other, and they don't have to be responsible for their actions as men when it comes to committing to women in relationships. But you don't allow those type of statements to come out of your mouth about how you can't stand women and you don't get along with women. And you also know how the men usually try to come after you and flirt with you. But then they get a little bit frustrated because you're always around other women and you're always positive and upbeat, and it just seems like you get along very well with other women. And because he's trying to talk to you and he's trying to talk to your best friend and your other female friend, he knows that he does not have a chance. For one, he may not understand your power, but he knows that you love yourself. But you are a lesbian. And so you don't allow men to easily manipulate you. And you don't even let women convince you that you should be alone or you should only hang around women who you think that you're better than. That's insecurity. You choose to be around women because you love being a woman and you're all about women empowerment because you defy societal norms. You don't try to fit in. People cannot tell you what to do. And people cannot figure you out. You're very mysterious. And as a lesbian, you may have experienced people falsely accusing you of not telling them the truth about you. You see, they may have said to you, "Oh, you changed. When did you all of a sudden start liking women?" But the truth is, you never changed. And you didn't suddenly stop liking men and start liking women. You were always a lesbian. They just didn't want to know that about you. And see, they noticed that you got a lot of attention from the fellas and even from the ladies. But they didn't know why you didn't have a man in your life. You spent a lot of time being single. And they were secretly thinking in their mind, "I can't wait until she says, I got a man," because I'm hoping that she'll snap out of it and get over this lesbian phase. Maybe she's single because she just hadn't met the right guy. But as long as she stays single, at least she's not with no girl. But little do they know, you probably already had a girlfriend or two. You just were smart enough not to bring them to your house because you knew your family was not accepting. You got to know women on your terms. You may have even met women out at social events. And some of the people who were always focused on your life instead of their own spotted you out with a woman. And that's how they figured out that you're a lesbian. And then they said, "Aha, I told you, you lied about who you are." But you didn't lie about who you are. You just kept your peace. You knew when to speak up and when to be silent to protect yourself. Because lesbians defy society norms. You defy societal norms because you learned how to strategize. You learned how to observe. And while they thought they were going to catch you and change you and even distort you, you always kept your sense of pride. You always knew who you are. And nobody could get close enough to you to the degree where they could convince you to not be yourself. You are a lesbian who defies societal norms. Congratulations. You make the world a better place because of your authenticity. And you will always be a lesbian who defies societal norms.